Now, make no mistake, we have been very clear. Peaceful protesting surrounding this horrific death of George Floyd are warranted and substantial, and the right thing to do. Nobody likes what they saw. In a country now that is split, this is not Republican, Democrat. This is not conservative, liberal. Universally, except for maybe a few keyboard warriors down in their basement in their underpants, we're all in agreement that foot, that knee on that neck for that sustained period of time is unacceptable. It is a death sentence for somebody. Period. End of sentence. Anger, grief surrounding that video is appalling, something all Americans feel tonight. Floyd was handcuffed on the ground when the Minneapolis officer, Derek Chauvin, applied lethal pressure to the most vulnerable part of the human body, the neck. It went over 8 minutes, smashing his face into the pavement while screaming that he cannot breathe. When we get to the autopsy in a minute, we now discovered that there were facial scars. That's how pinned down he was to that pavement. Unfortunately, other police officers could have stepped in and did not. Why? We haven't heard from them yet. We need to. According to this independent autopsy conducted by Dr. Michael Biden, George Floyd was killed by that act. As a matter of fact, there's now a report out of the examiner's office in Minnesota that says the same thing. But the preliminary report said just the opposite. We know the president has asked for an expedited investigation from the very beginning, and that includes the Department of Justice, the FBI, the Civil Rights Division, coordinating with local police departments in the area and local law enforcement officials. Justice will be served. Already, Chauvin has been charged with third-degree murder and manslaughter. The other officers stood by, did nothing to stop him. They have all been fired. More state charges and federal charges could be on the way. President Trump has directed the DOJ to go forward with that civil rights investigation. That means, yes, federal charges, very possible in this case. Sadly, now the life and death of George Floyd is getting overshadowed by criminals, anarchists, those looting and burning, groups like Antifa, who are wreaking havoc on the streets of our cities. At this point, hundreds of businesses now have been utterly destroyed, storefronts smashed in, fires burning out of control, looting in many great American cities. Business owners violently attacked. Rochester, New York, a woman was savagely assaulted by an angry mob of young men who were vandalizing her store. A man in Dallas, this is unconscionable, he was beaten unconscious. Dozens of Secret Service agents protecting the White House, they were injured by rioters throwing projectiles in that case. Police officers across the country face similar injuries. One NYU-trained lawyer arrested now for hurling a Molotov cocktail at the NYPD. St. Patrick's Cathedral in New York City was defaced with curse words and BLM spray painted onto the stone. The historic St. John's Church in D.C., what we call the Church of the Presidents, that was lit on fire. The president made a visit there later this afternoon. And believe it or not, this is just one small part of the unacceptable level of violence and anarchy from this weekend's riots. Take a look.
Hands up! Hands up!
We support the right of peaceful protesters, and we hear their pleas. But what we are now seeing on the streets of our cities has nothing to do with justice or with peace.
I saw people converging on the police vehicle. I saw people throwing things at the police vehicle. That is not peaceful protest.
This is not in the spirit of Martin Luther King Jr. This is chaos.
Let me be clear. What we are all witnessing as a country is a fundamental failure of liberal governments, liberal governors, liberal mayors all across the country. Philadelphia, Minneapolis, Chicago, New York, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Oakland, and other major cities now ravaged by chaos. Well, they've been run by Democrats for decades. The first line of defense, that would be the governors, that would be the mayors, that would be local police departments surrounding the police, other police departments, state troopers that get called up, state guardsmen get called up, and then, of course, they always had at their ready the president, who's been saying now for some time he has the National Guard ready for anybody that will ask for it. That is their role, to ask. But now the president has stepped up, and the president said, if you don't control it, I will. The infrastructure in these cities has been crumbling for decades. The school systems in these very same cities, they have been failing our children, our American family for decades. They have now failed generations of children. In many cases, the violence is completely out of control and has been even before all of this happened. Already in Chicago, 200 murders this year, and we're not even halfway through the year. This has been going on now for years. Why hasn't that problem been solved? Democratic mayors and governors in these cities and these states, they make a lot of promises every 2 years, every 4 years. They spend a lot of taxpayer money. They tax their citizens to death, but even after death. But when they're needed, guess what? When they're most needed, nowhere to be found. Just like they blew it and were not prepared at all for coronavirus in states like New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Michigan. Well, Donald Trump bailed them out there. They know about Antifa, and they know about these anarchists. They know the risks that they pose. They have let this build and build and build and do nothing to stop the violence. Maybe on night one, they could have said they weren't prepared. What's your excuse for nights 2, 3, 4, and 5? They knew cities are vulnerable to looting and violence during times of unrest, yet they're totally unprepared for anything, as always. This is beyond an epic fail and a disgrace and a total, complete dereliction of their duty. So how do you let rioters burn down a police station? Not one, but two. How do you let them loot store after store after store? How do you let them destroy already struggling businesses all across the country when, by the way, all week, when your people were getting beaten in the streets, where were you? Where was your plan? Why did the police retreat? Why didn't you restore order? There was no plan, a spectacular failure on every level. That is, the damage, the carnage, the records now will go on for years as a result of this. This chaos needs to end. It needs to end now. And as America's Mayor Rudy Giuliani, who will join us later, told us on Friday, if the first person throws a stone, they get arrested. The second person who throws a stone gets arrested. The third person, they're likely not going to throw that stone because they know there will be real consequences. People need to know there will be real consequences. And by the way, passive policing during a riot is never going to work. Dispensing large crowds, well, it's not brain surgery. It's not fun. Making arrests, confronting agitators, not easy work. But these governors, these mayors must authorize, well, it's simple. You set up a small perimeter. You enforce, if you have curfews, you enforce them. Overwhelming non-lethal force, including every tool at their disposal, built around the perimeters, and then, of course, you use what's necessary safely to disperse the crowd. Not brain surgery. That would mean tear gas, mace, if necessary, rubber bullets. If you have the police in place, the perimeter small enough, they will disperse. And by the way, if they needed additional help, the administration has been saying for days they will send the help that they need. Now the president, well, he will go in and clean up their mess, just like he handled their lack of preparation for pandemics as well. As Andrew McCarthy pointed out in a recent article, the president has the constitutional authority and power through the National Guard and, of course, our military. It's called the Insurrection Act. He has the full authority to go into these states and restore order, which he now must do because they didn't do it. If these liberal mayors and governors, in most cases, are unable and unwilling to protect their own citizens, the federal government will. Take a look.
But we cannot allow the righteous cries and peaceful protesters to be drowned out by an angry mob. I will fight to protect you. I am your president of law and order. That is why I am taking immediate presidential action to stop the violence and restore security and safety in America. Mayors and governors must establish an overwhelming law enforcement presence until the violence has been quelled. If a city or state refuses to take the actions that are necessary to defend the life and property of their residents, then I will deploy the United States military and quickly solve the problem for them.
And moments ago, the president walked to the scene of this weekend's unrest in Washington, D.C., our nation's capital. He stood outside the damaged St. John's Church, and he reassured Americans this will be solved.